Have you ever walked into a room and felt slightly out of place? Not because people were unkind, not because something obvious was wrong, but because the conversations seemed strangely shallow, the topics repetitive, the curiosity missing. And you found yourself wondering, why does this all feel so strange? Many people experience this feeling at some point in their lives, but for certain minds, it appears again and again, quietly, across classrooms, across workplaces, across entire careers. And eventually a question emerges, not spoken out loud, but deeply felt. Is something wrong with me? Or is something wrong with the system? For many intelligent and deeply curious people, modern society can feel oddly misaligned, not hostile, just mismatched. Conversations often revolve around the same predictable patterns: status, entertainment, short-term problems. But the mind that naturally looks for patterns tends to drift elsewhere. It asks questions like, why do systems behave the way they do? Why do institutions slowly become inefficient? Why do entire societies repeat the same mistakes across centuries? And suddenly the person asking these questions notices something surprising. Very few people seem interested in exploring them. This doesn't mean others are unintelligent, but it reveals something about how modern systems shape attention, because most environments today are optimized for efficiency, conformity, stability, not deep inquiry. Modern society runs on systems, schools, corporations, bureaucracies. Large systems require predictability, predictable behavior, predictable thinking, predictable decisions. For that reason, they tend to reward people who operate comfortably inside established frameworks. People who ask useful questions, but not too many questions. People who improve the system, but rarely challenge its foundations. Highly curious minds operate differently. They don't only ask, how can this system work better? They ask something far more disruptive. Why does this system exist in the first place? That question alone can make someone feel like an outsider, because it moves the conversation from function to structure. And most systems are designed to avoid that discussion, not out of malice, but out of self-preservation. Throughout history, many observers have described a similar experience. Scientists, philosophers, inventors, people who naturally think several layers beneath surface events. They often report a quiet sense of distance from the environments around them. Not arrogance, not superiority, just distance. Because their attention tends to drift toward the patterns others rarely notice. The rise and fall of civilizations, the psychological structures shaping belief systems, the strange way technological progress accelerates while human understanding struggles to keep up. Seen from this perspective, the feeling of being out of place begins to look different. It may not be a social failure, it may simply be a difference in cognitive orientation. Some minds specialize in navigating systems, others specialize in observing them. If you've experienced this feeling, there is something important to understand. Feeling out of place does not mean you are disconnected from society. It may mean you are noticing things that others have not yet had reason to examine. Civilizations need many kinds of minds: builders, maintainers, organizers, and also observers. People who step slightly outside the system long enough to understand its deeper patterns. The goal is not to withdraw from society, but to engage with it consciously, to use that perspective to ask better questions, and sometimes to help others see the patterns too. Because in a world increasingly filled with noise, the quiet signals often come from those who are willing to observe. And sometimes the reason you feel out of place is simply because you are listening for the signal beneath the noise.